Welcome to another video, guys. I'm Kris05 and today we'll be looking at the top 5 Hearthstone meta decks for Doom and the 2. The new wildcards definitely shifted the meta a lot, so if you want to know which are the best meta decks right now and how to play them, stick around to the end. Today's video is sponsored by the new esports bookmaker Cyber.bet. If you're into betting on esports events for popular games like Hearthstone, League of Legends, CSGO and more, make sure to check them out. When you sign up and make your first $10 or Euro deposit, you will get a bonus of 10 more. Link is in the description. Now let's get into the decks. First on the list is the deck I'm using to climb to Legend this season, Highlander Secret Paladin. It's pretty fun and quite effective once you get the hang of it. The Mysterious Challenger really shines in this deck and it can thin out your deck quite nicely, while making it hard for your opponent to play around your secrets as well. Sylvanas and Ragnaros are also pretty annoying to play against and give you a powerful mid and late game push. That being said, you can go faster against the greedier decks, but you can also go slow against the more aggro decks. Here's what the matchups look like. Resurrect Priest won't be too easy for you, and against experienced players, Tempo Rogue and both Evolve Shamans can be a problem too. Quest Druid isn't too easy for me as well, but other than that you should be good. For the mulligan, you always want to keep your 1-drops and 2-drops, like Crystology, Secret Keeper, Sunreaver Spy, Zephyrus and Finley. If you already have 1 and 2 drops, keeping Sentry and maybe even Mysterious Challenger won't be such a bad idea, but do make sure to think if those would be worth the keep in the particular matchup. Currently, the deck is sitting at tier 1, so if you have most of the cards, I'd say it would be worth for you to play it or play it with the cards you already own, so you get a feel for it. It looks expensive, but in reality it's 4,000 dust cheaper, since you already have the wild cards for free. And on top of that, the legendaries you do need to craft are safe crafts. If you want to see me pilot the deck to Legend, do drop by my stream tonight. See you there. Next we have the Quest Evolve Shaman. This is basically the same Quest Shaman from before, with the exception of 4 cards, 2 Evolves and 2 Desert Hares. You can play around with the cards you take out from the list, so it fits more to your playstyle, but this one seems to be one of the more consistent ones. The 2 Evolves and Hares enable the deck to have insane turn 4 or sometimes even turn 3s when you have the coin, and for some decks that is more than enough to take the win. It has a lot of gas in it, and even though you finish the quest later, you should still have no problem climbing with it. Matchup wise, your bad ones would be Quest Hunter and Combo Priest, but I haven't seen too many of those, so it shouldn't be a problem. At higher levels, the Questless Evolve Shaman can be a problem for you, but other than that, you should be in the green. Questing Explorer, Evolve, Totem and Hare should always be a keep in your mulligan. Mogu, Cable Rat, Mutate and Slush Slurper are great keeps as well, and depending on the matchup you might want to keep MC Tex and Sandstorm Elemental. This deck is high on tier 1 right now and it is also very cheap, so if you want to climb some easy ranks, I'd say it would be a perfect craft for you. Murloc Shaman and Questless Evolve Shaman are also doing pretty good and even are doing better than this list in some ranks, so it really comes down to what you prefer and what you have the cards for. From cheap to expensive, we move down to Malygos Druid. The archetype got a pretty solid support from the wildcards Kun and Emperor, and they make the deck a lot more consistent than before. It's a difficult deck to master and I do advise you to spend some hours watching pros play it. It has a lot of decision making, but if you get it right, you should be climbing in no time. From rank 5 to Legend, it's tier 2, but in High Legend, it's considered high tier 1, which proves that it has a high skill cap, so if you're up for the challenge, go for it. The matchups are quite polarized, but keep in mind that most of the unfavorable matchups are not seen too often anymore. Evolve Shaman could be a problem for you, but the real threat is Murlocs. For the mulligan, Crystal Merchant is always a keep. Against lower decks, you want your Nourish and Elise, and against faster decks, you want your Rafts and Swipes. If you already have some of those, Surgers and Starfall are not bad too, and Innervate can also speed up your quest completion. Again, this is not a cheap deck and it does require a lot of skill, so craft it at your own risk. It can feel like a clunky mess, but if it's piloted correctly, it can be insane. Next, we have a class that we haven't seen in the top meta decks for quite a while, Rogue. My friend Mellowtrick suggested me to include this list in this video, and he's doing pretty well with it in Legend. Most people consider aggro and tempo to be easy to play, but nowadays you really have to know what you're doing to maximize your chances for success. It includes 0 cards from the Wild event, but it deals with the current meta quite well, and it's not that expensive either. You could also test it a bit with the Swashbuckler if you want to remember the good old times. Not too many games recorded with it, but the matchups look something like this. Druids can be a problem for you, and Evolve Shaman is supposed to be the hardest. Warriors are also on the harder side, but you won't see too many of those. Secret Highlander Paladin is 50-50, but everything else should be in the green for you. Cats, backstabs and miscreants should always be in your mulligan. Henchclan thugs and scimitars are also great. If you have the coin, you can keep SI Agent, Evis and Edwin, depending on the matchup. There are tons of variations for rogue decks right now, but if you feel like playing some fast, smoke-intensive games, then this list should be perfect for you. The last deck I was gonna include in this list was Combo Priest again, but I talked about it so many times in the previous meta reports, so I guess you can check the guide about it from those. Instead, let's check out Resurrect Priest, which is not better than Combo Priest, but at least it's something new. Again, this is quite the expensive deck, but it goes down to 10k dust when you subtract the wild cards. It's not too simple to pilot, but it can be quite snowbally when you get the hang of it. Getting an early Infiltrator or a Ziliax usually is enough to drive your aggro opponents crazy, and the insane amounts of board refills should be enough for most of your other opponents. Murloc Shaman, Malygos Druid and Holy Wrath Paladin would be your worst matchups from the more popular decks. You have other counters too, but you would barely see any of those on ladder, so it shouldn't be a problem. For the mulligan, Infiltrator, Ziliax, Forbidden Words and Penance would usually be enough to bring you to your mid-game. If you already have a 5-drop, keeping Pump is also great. Against slower decks you can even keep Gallery, but be careful with that. Overall, the situation is similar like Malygos Druid. If you have the dust and you're up for a challenge, craft away, but again, it's at your own risk. So that's it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, a like and a subscribe would be awesome. Don't forget to check out cyber.bet as well. Thanks for watching. I'm Kris05, and I'll see you in my next video.